We are now going to look at what plagiarism is and also what you can do to avoid it. The UCA academic misconduct regulations are the regulations that define what plagiarism is, so it's worth having a look at these to start with. This is how UCA deals with plagiarism. You can find these by, if you Google UCA policies and regulations, you should be able to find the university regulations, policies and procedures. Then once there, it's under course related. So if we go to course related documentation, there's a PDF there for the academic misconduct regulations. When you completed your online enrolment for when you joined UCA, you would have ticked a box at some point saying that you agreed to all of the different university regulations, policies and procedures. Now, most people don't read them all, but this one is very important to do with plagiarism and referencing. So we're going to have a look in detail at some of the aspects on it from here. So on the regulations, there are a couple of statements about what plagiarism is under section 2.2.1. So we're going to have a look at the first one here, part 1. So this is where a student either presents work for assessment which contains the unacknowledged published or unpublished words, thoughts, judgments, ideas, structures or images of another person or persons. This includes material downloaded from digital sources and material obtained from a third party. So the key word in all of this is unacknowledged. Plagiarism is when you unacknowledge the sources that you are using. Then the statement goes on to say in the second part, presents work for assessment which that student has previously submitted for assessment as part of the same or another unit or course or at another institution. This is known as self-plagiarism and relates to the principle that a student may not receive credit for the same piece of work more than once, unless specifically required to resubmit work, e.g. as part of a resit task. It is important to note this because there will be times when you're studying at universities where you will end up using similar sources or addressing similar kind of themes as you had done in previously submitted work, such as essays or studio work. But it is very important that you don't just reuse an entire section. You can use similar content and similar sources, but the work that you produce for assessment must be completely different. After defining what plagiarism is, the regulations go on to say what it isn't, and then section 2.2.2 says it is not an offence for a student to draw upon the work or ideas of another person where this is appropriately acknowledged. Plagiarism can be avoided by the accurate use of quotation marks, detailed references, and a full bibliography. The key part of this is appropriately acknowledged. If you reference your sources, then you will not plagiarize anyone and you will not need to worry about these regulations. So in the rest of this series of videos, we will go on to show you what appropriately acknowledging your sources means.